In today's episode of The Lab, Glenn's forgotten entirely to create any content for you guys during the week, except for a few little bits and pieces, but I'll endeavour to smash something together, so let's go. So, I was working way under here, endeavouring to get this lovely HGT precision sequential box into the March. Progress is being made. I needed to make a mount for our bearing that's here, and I also needed to make this little, let's call it a gearbox mount. It's actually an adapter between here and here, because this is not the same angle as that. If we come around there, you might be able to see it there. The gearbox is slightly downhill and this isn't. So we need to change the angles a little bit. So that's what that plate was all about that I was trying to make. And there, hey look, you can see it. That's awesome. But of course, then our buddy over there, this thing here, yeah. Oh, bloody semi-reliable here. Hey, wanted to do this. Not today. Not sure if you can see the smoke. Anyway, so I took the brushes out, had a look at those. The springs look like they might have been getting a bit hot, so I just stretched those out. Seemed to be going okay. Tried to mill this tiny little wee piece of aluminium here, doing minimal cuts, maybe 1/4 millimeter at a time. Pop, blew all the fuses, dead. I think this thing's actually genuinely going to go to scrap metal. I would not recommend this to anyone. All is not lost. Well, I mean, this is... Gah! So I'm getting a new one of those roundy things that makes this sparky stuff that makes these things here go. I'm getting another one of those, a electron flow to torque machine. Electric motor. That's coming, but in the meantime I wanted to get on with this. So this is quite heavy, right? It's steel. Goes on there. Spigot's on the back. It's done a little bit differently to how you would normally do it because of reasons. Quite heavy. Never liked it. It's also out by a tiny little bit. It's high by 0.02 of a millimeter there, and that causes a little bit of a with the transfer box. You have to clock it up exactly right and get it exactly right spot on the flange on the diff, and then the problem goes away because the diff isn't actually 100% right as well. This look at the pile of aluminium. Anyway, this was a much bigger piece of aluminium earlier on in the day, and I would normally do this on the milling machine, but seeing as that's broken, I've put the 4-jaw chuck to use. It's quite an exciting plan. Works brilliant. That is the recess for our cap screws that go in there. I need to go a bit deeper, obviously, but now it's stuck in there. But it is actually time to knock off, but I want to get those 4 holes done because that looks like fun, and then I can test the flange out. So what happened then was this actually got made with the angle grinder. In the meantime, we were part of the way there with the mill, so I've finished it off for now to get this transmission mount plate, I guess we'll call it, trans brace, to get that in. We're waiting for stuff and things so we can carry on fixing. Anyway, I got some Nolithane from our mates at Waikato Bearings, and I've made this little contraption here. This is obviously it's a bush, mount bush for our Kimberley Tool and Design constructed transfer case there. Excuse the lighting of it's a bit poor in here. Made a lovely bracket to, can we see it from up here? Yeah, that'll do. To mount that onto some nice strong points on the chassis body. Give it some guts, so that won't wobble around too much. So we're going to try isolate vibrations and stuff in this transfer box. I'm not sure if you can, I don't know if you can see the movement. There's just a little bit of movement. It's just to take some of the harshness out of this beastie. Now I removed the seal that's in the front here. Coming around this side, basically we had similar to this on the other side, right, except the shaft was chewed right out to about the outside edge of these holes, because we didn't need to put anything on the front of the pinion gear. We only need to put drive into it. So I've shortened up the shaft. You can actually see what I've done in here. Shortened up the shaft and made a plug to go on the end of the shaft to fill that so that the oil doesn't fall out of the box this way. Removed the seal from the other side over here. Took some of my aluminium heat sink that I've got. I've got a massive big length of that if anyone wants any of that. Put it in it is actually reliable, this machine. This one doesn't break down. God, I just cursed myself something chronic, didn't I? But anyway, put it in the 4-jaw chuck there and made it round and pressed and sealed that into the front of there. So we've removed one seal from this contraption to reduce drag, seal drag, because these are quite big seals. They do create quite a lot of drag. It is quite hard to turn that by hand. It does move, but of course I'm driving the diff as well. So just trying to hopefully reduce the heat build up from that, and with the heat sink on the other side there, try and get rid of some heat as well. Now, what you're seeing here is it's taken all day to make this, that, weld it onto there, tidy up some other things that were going on here, and make this here with the tube in there ready to go for a bush to go onto this subframe. So that's not about saving weight, that's about space and strength. So the longer you have a lever, the less effort it's doing here to create good force here, you know. So torque, you need twice as much force here to create the same torque at the base there as what you do if you have a lever twice as long. So extending this out, putting a larger bush, gives us reduces the amount of movement, but still gives us some give to take away harshness and vibrations. I don't know if you can see that. I probably need to put the phone hard against the chassis, and that's too hard. So that will have some tabs here onto our front subframe, which is roll cage tube, 38mm roll cage tube, pretty bomb proof. Won't be any issues with that. Also, the big long length of this reduces the length of the tabs that need to be here and reduces that leverage effect onto the welding that'll be holding those tabs. Run out of time today, not going to get the bush in here today. We'll do it tomorrow. Surprisingly light, given its size, because I've taken this out here. We've got still quite a decent amount of material, top and bottom, to do what we need to do. That actually enables us to make the car lighter anyway, because this big beastie here, this was the original factory brace that goes under. That's where that subframe mount was there, and that's where the transfer box was originally. We've lowered it 10 mils and actually shifted it across to the passenger side 10-15 mils. So this mount would have needed to have been redone anyway. This got a piece stuck on the bottom of it, right, to make it a tube section. So I did this to give it some strength, because you couldn't just put all that torque onto that flimsy plate there that's only, it's got a 45-degree bend on each side of it and lots of holes in it. Even with this on here, it would have just buckled through here and put all the force into that other tab. I'll show you so you don't get confused. That tab up there had a 5mm plate onto, you might be able to see it. Up there, I'm upside down there, it's been cut off, see, so that we can do what we're doing with this. Now, that no longer needs to be doubled up like that, no longer needs to have this on here. We've removed don't know where it is. It's in the bin probably. A section of 5mm thick, 50mm wide steel that's about that big, so that's more weight. This whole contraption here can disappear, and we can use a piece of aluminium extrusion, because all we're going to be doing is holding some panels under the bottom of the car. Now it actually doesn't have any real purpose other than that. I can get another length of this or whatever, or even fold something up out of probably 3mm aluminium would do it, with a bit of extrusion stuck onto it, something like that, and that'll work. So it'll make it lighter and more goodera. This damn thing here, yes you are, don't buy one of these, I wouldn't. So what's actually failed in the speed control was these little thyristors here, transistors, whatever we want to call them. These are rated 600 volts and 25 amps, and 2 of those have failed. So I don't know where it got the 600 volts from, or the 25 amps, because it's got 8 amp fuses in the back of the machine, and there's also a circuit breaker on the wall. So anyway, the motor, I appear to have lost the motor. Oh, it's in a box down here. The old motor, which I'm nearly dropping, I'm doing it one hand, that's dead. It's too hard to do with one hand, I'll leave it in there. When you put 12 volts on this, this does turn, does go, but it pulses. And when you put the multimeter on it, test for resistance across the commutator through the armature, etc., and turn that round stage by stage, you can see there's a few that have clearly shorted and have lower resistance than the rest of them. So the motor's definitely dead. Whether the speed controller actually had a problem and caused the death of the motor and then took itself out afterwards, who knows. It's possible the motor went first and took out the speed control. In any case, we did get our new motor. It's our new motor there. That was all fitted up. As soon as I powered the thing up, it just went to full speed, even with the controller there. It just went full speed straight away. It was doing that because one of these little puppies was shorted out. So I've gone to RS Components, got a couple of those coming. They're like $5 each. I'll just replace the whole lot. They go in a row across here, and that'll be that fixed, I hope. If not, eBay or Alibaba or whatever it is. Oh, here's this piece of metal I was looking for that I was telling you about, the 5x. Anyway, Alibaba or whatever, they've got a brushless motor conversion kit for a lathe that uses the same motor as that. So we can do away with this, we can do away with brushes, we can, it's just going, it won't be as much of this anymore. So it'd be nice to have this thing actually reliable. 6 o'clock Saturday night, I'll get this smashed up for you guys so you can have an update of where we're at. There are things happening with the with Abby. There are things happening. I've made some progress. We'll keep this in a separate video so it's easier for everyone. Look, it's a sad face. Sad robot. Anyway, never mind. I'll update you on another video with that one. We'll keep going with this. I want to get that bush made tomorrow. Over here on the lathe, the old thing that's actually almost big enough. Almost big enough to do that, except I won't have any real way to hold it. So it's quite well priced, this stuff. It's less than $50 for a piece. It was quite long, sort of that long. Oops. Time to go inside. Alright, cheers, bye.